Welcome again, everyone, and thank you for joining us on this World Green Science Day 2023. And welcome again to this Forum 1, the Green Development Agenda. The Green Development Agenda is a critical initiative that aims to promote sustainable development and biodiversity conservation through international collaborations in science. The importance of the Green Development Agenda lies in its ability to address the challenges of environmental degradation, climate change, and poverty alleviation. The Green Development Agenda is a comprehensive approach that seeks to balance economic growth with environmental protection and social equity. It is a call to action for governments, businesses, and individuals to work together to create a sustainable future for all. The Green Development Agenda is essential because it recognizes that economic growth and environmental protection are not mutually exclusive, but rather they are interdependent. The Green Development Agenda is a long-term strategy that requires a collective effort from all stakeholders to achieve its objectives. The Green Development Agenda is a crucial step towards creating a sustainable future for our planet and future generations, and it is part of the first forum of the World Green Science Day celebration. So, let us begin then with our distinguished speakers who have kindly sent their materials and presentations. First, we will start with Professor Douglas de Castro from Lanzhou University with a presentation titled China-Latin America Partnership for Sustainable Development within the Green Belt and Road. Please carry on with the presentation.
Hello. I would like to start this talk today by first thanking the organizers of the World Green Science Day 2023. It is a pleasure to be here with you today. Today we're delving into the intricate and evolving partnership between China and Latin America within the Green Belt and Road Initiative. This partnership is not just a mere collaboration. It is a transformative approach reshaping sustainable development paradigms globally, with a significant implication to the Global South. Let's begin to understand the existing partnership between China and Latin America. This cooperation isn't just another link in international relations, but it's a pivotal force in the realm of sustainable development. In a world grappling with challenges like environmental degradation and economic disparities, the symbiotic relation between these preeminent global actors become crucial. Today, worlds face an existential threat posed by environmental degradation initiated by the Industrial Revolution, which made possible for the global North countries to achieve a high degree of development, leaving the global South vulnerable to the negative effects and underdeveloped. The Green Belt and Road by China stands at the center of this partnership, redefining sustainable development and representing an alternative to the Bretton Woods model of development and reflecting a deep-rooted history of civilization connections, notably the Silk Road. The Silk Road, a term that evokes the existence of a network of trade routes connecting China, Central Asia, India, and the Middle East, was more than just a path for goods. It was the cradle of cultural and idea exchanges, a network that wasn't just physical but intellectual. As Peter Frankopan notes, it was a melting pot of cultures and ideas, very different from European expeditions that started in the 1500s, in which the main purpose was extractivism and slavery trade. The Silk Road's significance in shaping civilizations and the beginning of globalization sets the backdrop of understanding China's modern initiatives like the Belt and Road Initiative. The Belt and Road Initiative, launched in 2013, it is a huge endeavor by China to rejuvenate the Silk Road's spirit in a modern context. It is about building a network of infrastructure and trade across continents. The initiative's scope is vast, covering over 2,600 projects with the investment value around 4 to 8 trillion US dollars. It is a fresh perspective on development, emphasizing connectivity, economic cooperation, and reshaping the global economic landscape. It is a people-to-people exchanges, as the civilizational component is not just an economic dimension. An essential evolution within the Belt and Road Initiative is the Green Belt and Road, introduced in 2017. It reflects an internal environmental gains in China and in its foreign policy framework. This approach integrates sustainable development into China's grand vision. It is about making the Belt and Road Initiative environmentally sustainable, focusing on projects that prioritize environmental protection and clean energy sources. The Green Belt and Road Initiative is not just an economic plan, it is a pathway to an ecological civilization that seeks harmony between humans and nature. The Green Belt Road Initiative is particularly consequential for Global South. It is not just about economic growth, it is about fostering environmental sustainability and addressing the pressing issues developing countries face. The focusing on sustainable infrastructure and energy projects, the Green Belt and Road Initiative offers a development model that balances economic needs with environmental conservation, a critical concern for regions like Latin America that are on the front line of environmental challenges. Energy transition projects financed under the Green Belt and Road umbrella in Argentina, Brazil, and Chile, for instance, are essential for the region to accommodate the need for development to the protection of nature. There should be no doubt that the coupling of interests between China and Latin America has a primary driver, their national interest, which does not invalidate or reject the proposed argument of the Global South cooperation based on the existence of non-material forces encapsulated in the Bandung spirit. Since its inception, the Belt and Road Initiative undergone a number of changes, which makes sense given the breadth and complexity of the projects, as well as the variety of countries and legal systems involved. At first, there was a lot of criticism about the participant countries' legal large infrastructure projects, the lack of labor or environmental standards. However, this was eventually addressed and helped to change the legal framework in the countries that receive investments. Acknowledging that these concerns, significant adjustments have been made over the years, demonstrating China's commitment to evolving the initiative in line with global standards. The adaptability is crucial, and it showcases the Belt and Road Initiative's resilience and responsiveness to the complex dynamics in international development. The Second World War and the subsequent decolonization models or movements paved the way for the rise of globalization as a dominant force in shaping the global order. International institutions such as the World Bank, International Monetary Fund, and the World Trade Organization, known as the Bretton Woods institutions, seek to impose a development model to integrate countries into a global economy through liberalization, privatization, and market-oriented reforms. The countries were pushed to prioritize economic indicators over social welfare and environmental sustainability, which often entail reliance on export-oriented industries, foreign direct investments, and debt financing, perpetuating a cycle of dependency and inequality. Scholars, activists, and policymakers argue that this model neglects social development, exacerbates income disparities, and undermines environmental sustainability, thus perpetuating the dominance of global economic powers, leading to a state of neo-colonial relationship between the global north and the global south. In contrast to the post-Second World War Western development models, the BRI and the Green BRI offers an alternative paradigm. They are not just merely economic alliances, they represent a shared pursuit of sustainability and a resistance to traditional industrialization-focused development models. These initiatives echo the Bandung spirit of solidarity and transcend materialistic dimensions, challenging the norms set by developed nations and offering a more equitable development path to the global south. Looking ahead, the Belt and Road Initiative and the Green Belt and Road Initiative presents both opportunities and challenges. Their potential to redefine global development paradigms is immense, but they must navigate complex geopolitical landscapes. The initiative's commitment to inclusivity and sustainability will be the key to its success, and its ability to mitigate potential geopolitical tensions and environmental concerns. Latin America is not a single country, but a patchwork of several, each with its own distinct political, cultural, and historical contexts. This variability points to the significant geographical variations in the application and consequences of the Green BRI. Certain countries may gain from infrastructure and energy development, but others may face challenges due to variances in their socio-political circumstances or ecological sensitivities. Projects funded by the Green Belt and Road Initiative should therefore take Latin America's diverse cultural context in account. Indigenous cultures, for example, are closely linked to their natural surroundings. Initiatives that ignore these cultural connections run the danger to run across opposition and causing strife. In conclusion, the Green Belt and Road Initiative represents a significant turning point in history and prospects of Latin America development, as it is marked by a deliberate shift towards ecological responsibility, sustainable growth, and mutual respect in international relations. It offers a different course of action for more balanced and equitable progress, skewing the traditional paradigms of power dynamics and development. China and Latin America are cooperating under the Green Belt and Road Initiative, which requires improvement but is based on mutual respect, shared interests, and shared commitment to sustainable development, rather than return to a past colonial endeavor. As they engage within the Green Belt and Road to expand their capacity to create a future that is both rich and aware of the earth and all the people, Latin American nations are a turning moment in their development trajectory. For the benefit of both present and future generations, this cooperative project thus symbolizes the promising future in which growth coexists peacefully with the environment. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor, for your presentation. Next on our schedule, we have got master's students Andy N. from Peking University with a presentation titled Designing for Sustainability, behavioral affordances and interface nudges for eco-friendly user actions. Carry on with the presentation, please.
Hi, my name is Andy Ng, and I'm currently a master's student at Yenching Academy of Peking University, where I'm studying the socioeconomic impacts of technology in China. Today, I'll be presenting to you how designing behavioral affordances and interface nudges can popularize sustainability. And so before I begin talking about what are behavioral affordances and what interface nudges are, let's first talk about sustainability and how we can popularize that in today's economy. I'd like to first start off by talking about traditional methods of educating people on sustainability. Currently, there's about three main avenues that people are approaching sustainability education. Firstly, being sustainability workshops and seminars. And while this is valuable, these methods often have limited reach and need to have further reinforcement. It's often just a one-time thing when you attend a conference or one-time thing when you attend a class. And so we need to be able to find channels that can have more frequency with users. Secondly, we also use environmental campaigns and initiatives. And although this motivates change, it often struggles to sustain long-term behavioral shifts. Thirdly, we right now have informative articles and documentaries. Although this is effective in raising awareness, it often lacks direct user engagement. And so we want to be talking about today, what are channels and avenues that we can be interacting with users on a more frequent basis, whether it be weekly, monthly, or even daily. And so today I want to be talking about e-commerce. How can we now use e-commerce as a platform to be educating people on sustainability? Well, currently, one of the key pain points that we just discussed was how can we have more face time with users on certain platforms, whether it be seminars or online shopping methods. And so currently there are 2.14 billion people that are online shoppers today on e-commerce platforms. And it's estimated that by 2040, about 95% of all purchases will be done through e-commerce. And so as we dive deeper into the sustainability aspects of e-commerce, let's take a look at what's being done today. E-commerce currently has a huge amount of waste, totaling 942,000 tons of waste per year, whether that be cardboard boxes in terms of packaging or the plastic that goes into wrapping each and every single package. And so how can we now use the packaging of e-commerce as a platform to educate and popularize this idea of sustainability? And that is where we lead into behavioral affordances. Before we talk about behavioral affordances in e-commerce, let's first talk about the first time that we really seen effective behavioral affordance in sustainability with the plastic bag tax. And so you guys all must be wondering right now, what is behavioral affordances and what does that have to do with e-commerce and sustainability? Behavioral affordances essentially is providing the opportunity for action, not necessarily causing change in the behavior, but simply making these changes possible. And so when the plastic bag tax first came out, whether it be in the US, in Africa, or also in China, the plastic bag tax charged users about 10 to 20 cents for each time they used a one-time use of plastic bags. Because, as we know, this is not very sustainable or good for the environment, users now had to think about, do I really need this plastic bag? Am I able to bring my own reusable bag to eliminate the use of this 10 cents plastic bag? Do I really need to be buying a plastic bag just for my one carton of milk? And so with that, there's a huge movement towards reusable bags. And so with that, we see oftentimes that users are now thinking twice before they pick up a plastic bag. So how can we do that and embed these green ideas into e-commerce? So with that, I want to be talking about behavioral affordances in creating less boxes, less packaging in e-commerce. As you can see here on the first picture, On Amazon Prime today, when you order a package, it gives you the option of choosing if you want regular delivery or the second option, which is also regular delivery. This time it says with the green leaf on the side, there will be fewer boxes and fewer trips, making your life more easy. And although it gives the illusion of choice that you are choosing which type of a model that you want, oftentimes users do select the second one, being able to receive fewer boxes. On the contrary of the plastic bag tax, this time users are able to save money if they're able to save the number of packages that they spend, saying if you wait one more day and you can group all your packages together from the warehouse, and so you can save the number of trips that you spend, but also reduce the number and the amount of waste that you are producing. On the picture on the right, this is a picture of the package collection area in China. And as you can see, there are lots of packages that are being picked up every day. And so with that, we see this as an opportunity to innovate, to be able to design interfaces that can nudge users to select a later package date to pick up their packages and reduce the amount of e-commerce waste. And so today I really want to be honing in on the idea of how we can use cognitive science to reinforce green behaviors. And so firstly, by being able to embed green education in products in very subtle nudges, as we can see, giving the illusion of choice, and really tapping into people's cognitive science and cognitive behaviors. By integrating such sustainability education at the key touch points, products are able to now guide users toward more eco-conscious choices. The second one is, rather than telling people to be green, we're giving them the option to be green. So by creating these seamless incremental nudges, as we just saw with Amazon Prime's shipping options, we can now utilize positive reinforcement strategies to encourage behaviors and rewards towards sustainable behavior. And lastly, we want to be encouraging sustainability as a core value. By shaping users' habits and preferences to align with sustainability, lifestyles, and goals through intuitive design that we just saw, we can now be able to teach users in very subtle ways that aren't in the traditional seminars or courses that we can see. And so I want to conclude by talking about the areas of potential that behavioral science can have in e-commerce, and how people who are designing high-tech platforms now also need to be thinking about environmental science, and how we can harness the power of behavioral science to revolutionize the way we promote e-commerce and these digital platforms. Secondly, I want to be honing in on how we can talk about making sustainability a priority, not just for environmental scientists, but for every type of a scientist, because it's crucial for both the developers, the entrepreneurs, and the users to be able to prioritize sustainability in their daily life choices. And lastly, I do believe that we can be collaboratively embedding sustainable practices and design principles into creating a lasting positive effect on individuals on this planet. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. M, for your kind presentation. Next, we have got Professor Ángel José Lozada das Dores from Universidad Central del Valle del Cauca in Colombia, with a presentation titled Learning by Doing a Strategy for Electronic Engineer Students Towards to Sustainability at Universidad Central del Valle del Cauca. Please proceed with the presentation.
Hi everyone, my name is Ángel José Lozada das Dores. I am professor at Universidad Central del Valle del Cauca. And my presentation is Learning by Doing Strategy for Electronic Engineering Students Toward to Sustainability at Universidad Central del Valle del Cauca. So let's begin to say that United Nations, globally and more locally the Colombian state, are looking at higher education institutions like UTEBA and any other kind of education institution, and under the Sustainable Development Goals improve their quality of education. Under this scenario, it was created a pilot project in the second semester of electronic engineering program in order to answer this question. How higher education institutions, and more specifically the electronic engineering program, could improve their teaching learning process toward sustainability. So what motivates to answer that question? Well, there are basically four motivations. The first is to improve the soft skills in the students. Soft skills like oral and written communications, work, social interaction, increase the collaboration between academia and society, improve student education process, introduce the green electronic concepts like recycling electronic components, sustainability from electronics, reduce human impact on planet through the electronic projects, and finally, consolidate electronic engineering concepts. So there are several strategies to improve the learning teaching process, but the best one that may fit the whole process in the electronic engineering program is the learning by doing theory from John Dewey, which consider that the best way that a participant or a student may learn a concept is by doing, by handling. In this case, for electronic engineering students, is by designing, implementing, and developing electronic projects. So this project, the pilot project, begins 2 years ago. So we have 2 years of experience. And as we are continue looking for improvement, we are from 2024, we will introduce the sustainability concept. So what the students have to do in order to develop their project is that the students have to choose a project, a circuit. They have to demonstrate how these circuits contribute to sustainability. The circuit must be approved by the professor. The circuit must include the studied components in the semester. However, they can introduce additional components by approbation of the professor. They have to simulate the circuit to put that circuit in enclosure, implement the circuit in a micro, small, medium enterprise or in a public institution like a primary or secondary school. They must be grouped in group of 3. They have to record a video explaining the circuit. They have to interview the manager owner of this institution or enterprises. They have to do an oral presentation, and they have to do or create academic documents. So 2 years ago and the last year, the students have to answer the first part of this question. What problem are you going to solve in that MSME or in that public institution? However, from the next year, they have to also answer how this circuit is related with sustainability. So in the previous 2 years, I would like to highlight that the students became problem-solving people when they faced that the circuit that they choose didn't work as is expected. So they have to creatively change components, maybe change the whole circuit, or add other components in order to achieve the goal. So this is, for example, an initial circuit that they choose, and this is the final proposal circuit. As is possible to see, the final proposal circuit is more complex than the previous one. So for electronic engineering program, it's very important that they have to simulate the circuit in order to save time, money, and now it's possible to make the circuit more efficient, energy efficient circuit. So they can choose to change components or to change the circuit or to change the configuration of the circuit in order to make it more efficient in the last case, using software like this one called Proteus. If the circuit simulation goes well, they have to prototype in a breadboard like showing the picture. And if the prototyping is going well, they have to implement it, enclosing the circuit in a box like this. However, the box must be identified with information like university logo, student's name, professor name, subject name, year, and name of the project. So what we are going to do from next year, we are going to demonstrate then how previous year circuits contribute to sustainability. So here we have two examples: alarm circuit to avoid robbery on two small, medium enterprise or micro enterprise really. So the alarm circuit let decrease the robbery, maybe in the area or maybe in the enterprises. If we achieve this, will be decreased the necessary purchase, because every time that an enterprise like this is suffer robbery, they have to buy more goods, right? So if we less the necessary purchase, we will decrease the production, and if we decrease the production, we decrease the contamination, because many of the products that sell in a small store maybe contribute to contamination. So just from a alarm circuit, we finally could decrease contamination. So another example from previous year and how this circuit contribute to sustainability. This is a gas detector in a retail store with very highly inflammable products. So if this gas detector prevent a fire, we could avoid CO2 and other toxic materials contamination, which lead to avoid necessary purchase, that lead to less production from the factory, which lead for less contamination. So, and again, there are three examples now that how electronic engineer projects contribute to sustainability. And we finally talk about this automatic fan activation for a wood crafter enterprise. So this ventilator, this fan activates when this sends a lot of particles in the air. In this particular case, if the project improve air quality within the enterprise, improve work condition for the people who work there, improve the quality of worker life, and finally lead to evidence the application of SDG 3, 8, and 12. At the end of the project, and we will continue the next year and following, we asked to the student if the current project allowed to consolidate knowledge related to active and passive electronic components. Most of them agreed. The next survey was to ask them if they receive support or guidance from UCEBA's professor. Most of them strongly agree. We also asked them if they would like to repeat this kind of project and the process. They also mostly agree. But also we made a survey to the owner or manager of this place if they consider the academic project have any positive impact in their business establishment, and most of them agree. And finally, we asked the customer users if this academic project have a positive impact for those who visit the business establishment, and most of them strongly agree too. So as a proof of the cooperation between the MSME and the university, the enterprise issued a letter. And as a conclusion, we can summarize in this point: the student were super problem and creative person. The learning by doing theory demonstrate its efficiency. They improve communication skill. The relationship between electronic project and sustainability was established. The knowledge relating to electronic component was consolidated. And finally, the satisfaction of a student due to implementation of their circuit outside of the UCEBA was agreed. So thank you very much for this presentation. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Professor, for your presentation. Next, we have got Professor Michael Opoku Adomaku from Taiso University with a presentation titled Transformational Dynamics of Quality Education, a Key to a Sustainable Environment. Please carry on with your presentation.
Hello, everyone. I am Michael from the Taizhou University in China. Actually, I hail from Ghana, in the West African region. I'm currently working with the Tejo University. And before I continue with my speech, I would like to acknowledge Professor Marco Cabero for such an important establishment. The entire world has come to realize that we need to protect the very environment that sustains our life. And for that reason, on every governmental panel and platforms, we hear of speeches on climate change, speeches on plastics and waste, other waste disposals. We also hear of how to sustain forests and how to keep our wetlands. This morning, I actually want to talk about the transformational dynamics of quality education. We all know that the quality education as one of the SDGs, the number 4 SDG goal, is a platform for other goals which are also important to our existence, or important to bridge the gap between the one staying in a rural area somewhere going having problems, or those of us in big cities with different lifestyles. I would like to first of all say that the environment or the planet Earth can be likened or is comparable to a passcode. A passcode, I think all of us have passcodes, that are used at least to open emails, to get access to ATM machines for withdrawals. Why do I liken these, or why should I liken these fundamental attributes that governs our ecosystem to a passcode? Now, once a passcode is logically entered into a system, the individual is able to access the environment or the platform or the space to his advantage, that is, to his own benefit. For instance, you want to withdraw money and you are not able to key in logically your passcode. The money that you need so badly will never be given. But once you are able to key in the codes as it's supposed to be, you get access to it. And therefore, this environment, the ecosystem, the biosphere that we have, that is the only thing that we have, and that is the only platform that sustains life. And it is the same thing that we, the individuals, have also decided. I said decided because we are spoiling it. We know that what we are doing are not the things that may sustain it, but we do them because what we are doing is also seems important to us. Now, if you go to my country, Ghana, right now, I am not too old, even though I'm grown, but I know that in the 80s to 90s, there were some rivers that we depended on for fresh water because there were no pipe-borne water and stuff. But as I talk with you right now, illegal miners have taken over these water bodies, spoiled them. Now you see the color of the water alone will not even encourage you to even fetch it for anything. It's full of mercury and other, heavy metals that are poisonous to living things, plants, organisms, and we, the human beings. But one thing that we know that is capable of sustaining this environment is achieving quality education. However, this quality education that we talk about, I always talk about exempting certain class of people. We talk about it as in the SDG 4, is to ensure inclusive and equitable education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. I beg to differ. That all that was added is the key thing that is causing the rapid degradation or deterioration of our environment, because this all will never include certain people because they don't have it, and it will remain as it is once we live on this planet. But these same people that we have ignored their intellect or their experience or the way they value the environment, if we are to include these people, let's take for instance an individual who has achieved some knowledge from his parents or from his community that we do not cut trees, we don't throw waste into rivers. This same individual has achieved certain kind of education because he has taken some knowledge or information from those ahead. Education is what? It's just the passing on of valuable information to the one listening. And so if we define quality education by exempting the one who is not in the formal education, then it means that their capabilities are not going to be harnessed to support us in protecting this very environment that we talk about. So in achieving a quality education, we need this kind of transformational dynamics. Individuals' expertise, individuals' discovery. The individual discoveries from different angles. Those who have learned apprenticeship from people. Those who have followed parents, brothers to, in some way of protecting the environment. We need to put all these people on board in order to harness this simple knowledge that they also have. We have learned it in books, but they are actually in the system. They are operating the environment. If you go to Ghana right now, no higher level educated person is in that illegal business. It is these young people who think they never got the opportunity in the classroom. And so because we have relegated them to the background that we don't need their expertise, these people are in the water bodies spoiling it. And so whilst we are talking about green environment, let us now begin to see those individuals as an important people who can also be will be included in this very fight for a sustainable environment. We actually need them. It is time to redefine this quality education to include certain class of people, and also take away the notion that we can get quality education for all. It is impossible. I want to stand here and declare this one to the entire world, that it is impossible to get equal education because the environment where the individuals are living are not the same. And so we need to begin to find ways and means to bring all these people on board and let them also tell us what they also know in order to sustain the environment. Because when we were young, our parents told us that at a certain time we don't go to a certain place in the areas that we used to farm. We do not have access to the place, like we don't go there. It is prohibited to go there certain particular day. But as we grew up and we decided to ask why we don't go to such places in a particular time, we were told that they also need the ecosystem to have a rest from human interference and disturbances. That tells us that if I have not gone ahead in education and remain there, I will still have this information and understand my parents that what they said is logic, or there is a logic in it. So I would like the entire globe to begin to find ways and means to bring people in the rural communities, people that do not have this formal education that some of us are privileged to have. Until we begin to bring all these people on board and try to value what they also know, the disparities will continue to be there. And once these differences or disparities are continuously exist within us, there is always going to be a bridge between the elite and then the one that is not on, that is unschooled. And our so-called knowing will overshadow what they know, and they will never implement what they have also learned from the people ahead of them. As I bring my speech to an end, I would like to say that let us redefine the quality education that we have. And once we redefine it to include the people who did not receive the formal education that we have, who did not get into the bigger university laboratories and so many areas, can also contribute their quota in supporting the environment. And with that, we will be able to get access to the passcode to this fundamental attribute that governs the environment. We will be able to harness the ideas, the views of the individuals who are not in the classrooms, but they know so much of how to keep the tree, how to keep the forest from not burning. Once we get these people on board, the environment that we want it to be green, literally having plants living in areas that we don't even expect them, at this time you'll be able to keep all this environment moving. For example, wetlands are important ecosystem for climate mitigation. But people in the big cities, in bigger areas, living on top of a story building, how do they sustain the wetland? It is a very person, individual in that village who has learned from parents that we should not contaminate these wetlands, because we take water, we take fishes, we take crabs, we take shrimps and other things from. This knowledge needs to be placed on board. We need to let this knowledge be a valuable thing. And once we tell them that what you know is valuable for the sustainability of this environment, they will be able to also be in a position to support the fight for a sustainable environment. Let us redefine the ecosystem, the quality education, to have that transformational dynamics that we need in sustaining the environment. Thank you for your listening and the invitation.
Thank you very much, Professor. We carry on now with Assistant Professor Dr. Hassan Anwar from the National University of Sciences of Technology in Pakistan, with a presentation titled Drivers and Constraints Affecting the Transition to Sustainable Farming Practices. Please carry on with the presentation, Professor.
Hello and welcome to this video presentation on World Green Science Day. I'm Dr. Anwar, and in this video we will explore the different drivers and constraints affecting the transition to sustainable farming practices. So we are familiar with the sustainable trends in agriculture, which include food security, carbon sequestration, water preservation, reduced emissions, reduced waste, and land conservation. So let's look at some drivers and constraints that affect the farmer's decision-making process and could hamper the implementation of sustainable practices in farming. So the factors affecting farmers' behavior and decision-making can be broadly classified into four categories. Let's start with the policies. Policies are the rules and regulations that farmers must follow when they farm. Farmers can have positive, negative, or mixed feelings towards policies. An example of negative feedback is that farmers in general may resist sustainable policies that involve strict regulations and compliance requirements. These could include rules related to water usage, pesticide restrictions, or land management practices that they view as burdensome or costly. And in another example, let's consider government subsidies. Farmers may have mixed feelings about subsidies for sustainable practices. Some may view them as essential support, while others may see them as insufficient or unfairly distributed. Now let's see markets. Markets are where farmers sell their products and buy their input. These markets can be divided into three types: farm inputs in the form of seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, machinery, and labor; farm commodities in the form of fruits, vegetables, and grains; and value added markets in the form of products such as flour, bread, cheese, and yogurt. Markets can have positive or negative impacts on farmers' behavior and decision making. For example, markets that provide access to credit or insurance can enable farmers to invest in sustainable technologies or practices, while those that limit access to credit or insurance can constrain farmers from adopting sustainable practices. Knowledge institutions. Scientific research plays a critical role in advancing and improving sustainable farming by providing the knowledge, data, and innovations needed to develop, implement sustainable agricultural techniques. However, there are situations where scientific research can have unintended negative consequences. As an example, scientific research can lead to the development of genetically modified crops and advanced pesticides that are initially deemed environmentally friendly, but in the longer run they prove to be ecologically unsustainable. In another example, uh, in some cases, scientific research can be influenced by industry or corporate interests, leading to biased results that prioritize profit over sustainability. This can result in the promotion of farming practices that may not be truly sustainable. Stakeholders and social movements. Agricultural dynamics are influenced by the power of different interest groups. Public awareness of sustainability issues relies on dissatisfied individuals and groups challenging the current agri-food system. Although more organizations are emerging to support innovative farmers and sustainable agriculture, their progress is limited by the dominant conventional stakeholders. In future, achieving sustainable agriculture will require finding common ground and compromises among these diverse interests in markets, policies, and research institutions. Conclusions. Farmers' behavior and decision making is influenced by policies, markets, scientific research, and stakeholders' interest. These factors are not isolated from each other but rather interact with each other in complex ways. For example, policies can affect markets, markets can affect knowledge institutions can affect stakeholders and social movements, and stakeholders and social movements can in turn affect the policies again. All factors must be therefore considered simultaneously to achieve desired long-term sustainable goals in agriculture. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor, for your presentation. Next, we have got University lecturer Andrea Kondemin from the University of Jiangnan in China, with a presentation titled Navigating Youth Employment Aspirations Within Sustainable Development Goals. Please carry on.
Hi everyone, my name is Andrea and my subject today is Youth Career Aspirations within Sustainable Development Goals. This is a subject that I like, that I have interest about, and I hope you will have the same interest at the end of this presentation. I wanted to start this presentation with numbers. These statistics came from the International Labour Organization report published in 2023. So, did you know that 473 million of people are unemployed? Among them, 205 million are currently looking for a job. So, this is quite a lot. Did you know that twice as many women as men are outside the labor force? Did you know that 289 million of young people in 2022 aged from 15 to 24 years old are classified as NEET? So what is NEET? Is not in employment, not in education or any kind of training. As well, did you know that young people are 3 times as likely as adults to be unemployed? That's quite a lot too. Of course, the pandemic didn't arrange the things, but you have to know as well that the recovery remains quite slow and quite under comparing 2019. Did you know that there will be an increase of 1 million of young people unemployed between 2022 and 2023? So now. These statistics are not quite good, but let us dive in and understand why. So, according to a global Shapers survey conducted in 2019 towards values, attitudes, outlook, and workplace, they found out that, first of all, aspirations and expectations are not quite the same. In fact, aspirations are what we wish for our future, what we want, okay? And expectations is more about what we believe we can achieve. Half of the world's population is under 30 years old. And the problem is like they are aware of what is going on, but they don't have that much decision power over it. Youth personal career interest do not align with jobs available today in their community, in the companies around them. They don't feel they belong here. They don't feel this can bring them a sense of value. So the main question is, what are they looking for then? So as you can see in this slide, I put some real comments that I found out in the OECD report, Dream Jobs, Teenagers, Career Aspirations. That's what the title. I will let you read them because I have 10 minutes. But I want to put your attention on the age, 16 years old. They already understood a lot. We can feel through their comments that they are aware. I found out another survey conducted by University of Applied Science. In 3 major trends came out from this survey: climate change, wars, and rising costs, resulting in different aspirations for their future job. 61% of the respondents answered that reducing carbon footprints through daily actions must be the priority for their future job. So in terms of sustainable development goals, what is the link? How can these aspirations can be fulfilled? The good news is green transition will result in the creation of a lot of opportunities for young people. 8.4 million jobs by 2030. The problem is the young people today doesn't feel they have the skills needed to be sure the green economy gonna be implemented. Tried to summarize all the data available through this slide in terms of green skills. They represent the knowledge, the abilities, the attitudes, the values to support a sustainable society, technical skills and the transversal skills. The technical skills such as solar installation technicians, climate risk analysts, carbon reduction specialists, all of that gonna be very much necessary to implement a green economy. For the transversal skills, this can result in career CSR, so corporate social responsibility, green business advisor, sustainability consultant, green infrastructure designer, innovation specialist, solutions developer towards green initiatives, of course. And I believe the young people are the one who can challenge the current skills. I don't have that much time to present every theories, but 3 things you have to remember. Young people will endure severe climate changes, and it's already happening, and so on. 7 out of 10 young people want to be actively engaged in the green transition. They are willing to work in meaningful jobs that can help them for the future and for the future generations in general, because they already understand they will not have the same life of the current adults. All of this is going to significantly change the economic opportunities. According to the Youth International Day 2023 and United Nations reports, 40% of jobs related to a stable and healthy environment, such as fishers, farmers, tourism in general, pharmaceuticals, all of them gonna be very much impacted. And heat pressure, they gonna need to arrange their working time. 84% agree that they need more information, more education. And if we want to act now, they need them now. They need programs and mentorship to allow this to become possible. The majority of them doesn't have the basic resources to learn the green skills that gonna help them to answer the emergency of the green economy. First recommendation is careful. We need to be more careful. Short-term exit earning that we experienced during the pandemic begin to evolve into a long-term exclusion. Now, the young people are becoming more entrepreneurs, turning themselves into technology and entrepreneurship in order to find answers for their own aspirations, as well as current environmental and future environmental degradation gonna automatically define the future of work. And number 3 is need of mentorship and guidance in green science careers. Scientific community needs to support the youth initiatives and support from the people who are currently there, and even at your level. Maybe some of you are also working in a university. Local activities able to assess what the youth gonna need to be ready facing the emergency of the climate change. So thanks for your attention. This is quite what I had to tell you today. It's less, and I wish to have more time. Good news is I'm currently writing a review article regarding youth career dynamics post-COVID era. I'm open to any discussion on this matter with people around the world through LinkedIn or directly through email. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Thank you, Ms. Kondomin, for your presentation. We carry on now with Assistant Professor Dr. Hira Amjad from National University of Sciences and Technology in Pakistan, with a presentation titled, Is Fast Fashion a Risk for Environmental Sustainability? Please go on with your presentation.
Amjad, Assistant Professor at National University of Sciences and Technology from Pakistan. So today I'm going to talk about the fast fashion. So this is kind of a concept which we like so much, but we don't want to talk about its harmful environmental impacts. And specifically when we talk about the sustainability, how buying a new cloth every other day from every new collection of these so many brands is going to affect and is in fact currently affecting our environment. Okay, and in future the problem will even go more worse. So let me first differentiate between conventional versus modern fashion, you can say. So the traditional is basically refers to those societies or elements of societies that are small scale and they are derived from indigenous and often Asian culture practices. So here people they don't change their style, their clothing styles every other day. So they once get a dress and it's according to their culture and tradition, they will keep on using it again and again, okay, until unless it won't fit them anymore. But when we talk about the modern, especially in the fashion industry, so it refers to those practices that relate to the industrial mode of production or the development of large scale, often colonial societies. Okay, so here we have so many industries, so many brands. They are having their collections every other week. In an year, they have like more than 50 new collections, and they will call it okay, this is limited edition, this is summer, this is winter, this is midsummer, so and so and so. Okay, and they are attracting you to buy those clothes so to look modern and more attractive in the society. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. So fast fashion brands they produce about 52 micro seasons a year. See, we have only 12 months in a year, but the seasons they are they're telling you are like 52, which means one new collection every other week. And besides these 52 micro seasons, we have certain festive collections. As even in Pakistan, we have these festive collections on our Eid. Okay, so we have two Eids in an year. We'll have uh, we will have different dresses for these two Eids, and in India they have Diwali, so they are supposed to have new clothes, and there are other festivals in the world. And even these brands are so clever that they are launching their funeral dresses collections. And this is very unfortunate that we spend a lot of money on wedding dresses, and which we only wear only once in our lifetime. Most of the time, wedding dress will be worn only once in your lifetime. Okay, so there's a very famous quote by Lucy Segal: "Fast fashion isn't free. Someone somewhere is paying." Maybe you and me we are not realizing the price of this fast fashion because we have money, we have these brands, and we can easily go and buy a new dress for each and every event. But ultimately the side effects of these industrial productions they are causing our environment a lot, which I will explain you in coming. So this fast fashion is generating lots of crises, so let me explain you a few of them. Okay, so We have 1.5 trillion liters of water is being used by the fashion industry each year. And besides this, we are living in a world where 750 million people, they do not have access to drinking water. I'm not talking about the clean drinking water. I'm just talking about the drinking water. So 750 million people, they don't have access to clean drinking water, and about 2 to 6% of the global fresh water is used to produce cotton. And this cotton is directly being used in your so the fashion industry accounts for 20% of global wastewater by United Nations. See, we don't have efficient wastewater treatment plants for our domestic and other industrial wastewater. But when we talk about the textile wastewater, it is very hard to treat just because of its color and dyes and all those surfactants which are being used over there. So there's a report by CNN. They said Asian rivers are turning black, and our colorful closets are to blame for this black water. Okay. So the impact of this fashion on the climate is fashion industry contributed 2.1 billion metric tons of greenhouse gas emissions in 2018 and 4% of the total emissions. Okay, so it is on trajectory that will exceed that 1.5-degree pathway. Carbon emissions to around 2.7 billion metric tons a year will be by 2030 if we will not cease our actions or will not take account them for the environmental degradation. Second largest polluter in the world is basically our fashion industry, the cotton industry, which is producing the clothes, all these textiles and garments, and 20% water pollution comes from textile. 200,000 tons of dyes are lost to effluent every year, and nobody is paying attention for their treatment. Okay. Besides this, chemicals, dyes, surfactants, and all these things, let's talk about something which is very physical. Okay, that is microfiber. People are talking about microplastics, nanoplastics, microfibers, nanofibers. So almost 700,000 individual microfibers they will release once you wash your synthetic fiber shirt or trouser or whatever it is. Okay, so and they are in small size, so that's why they will be got eaten by small aquatic animals in the water bodies. These small animals will they are food for the large fishes, and ultimately when we are eating these contaminated fish with this microfiber, we are consuming them directly. Okay, and it is going to be polluting our food chain and is going to accumulate in my body and in your body and in our stomach. So microfibers they release in air as well. Don't you think that they are only going into the water? They are also going into the air. We have solutions to this. Okay, so I can talk on this for like the whole day, but the time is short. So see, reduce, reuse, and recycle will always be the option um, uh, for these all contaminants, for all these environmental pollutions. Besides this, we have to choose natural or semi-synthetic fibers to avoid the release of these microfibers in the water and air. We have to wash clothes only when they are required, and don't need to wash them on very low temperatures, okay, or very high temperatures. Okay, think planet before purchasing. So please, you have to control your craving for shopping and for all these brands. Okay, act green and choose sustainable solutions. Donate what you no longer use so that it can be used by other people. A very important thing I want to mention here is that I'm running this Innest Environment Club at my university. So here we encourage our students to please go into the field and please aware the people about the reuse, recycle, and reduce concept. And also, my team, they collected some cloths from the university, and then they simply donate them to the poor children. Okay, so by this not only we are making them aware about the environmental problems and solutions, but we are also helping them to have some new and very good branded clothes. So this was all from my side. Indeed, the fast fashion growing industry is a threat to our sustainable environment, and we should pay attention on this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Amjad, for your presentation. We finally wrap this forum up with a presentation by Professor Sarah Plateau from the College of Life Sciences in Jiangnan University, China, with a presentation titled Balancing the One Health, One Welfare, One Biology with the Global Needs. Please carry on with your presentation.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Dr. Sarah Plato. I'm Professor of Animal Behavior and Welfare at the College of Life Science at Jiangnan University, Wuhan, China. I would like to thank very much the organization ARCST for inviting me to participate to the World Green Science Day. I'm going to share my screen now. So my presentation, it's about how to balance the one health, one welfare, and one biology with the global needs. But in particular, it's about how we can include animal welfare in the 2030 agenda. We are all aware that from November 2022, the world population has reached 8 billion people. This means we actually are putting a lot of pressure regarding food demand and therefore food production, and in particular on the livestock industry. So what this means that we require more food like animal product, and therefore the industry, the livestock industry, need to produce more and rely more and more on the industrialized high density system, livestock system, which actually are very famous to not have good welfare for the animal. All of this, of course, all this pressure also cause pressure on the environment. Why? Because we are not actually good in and efficient in using our resources. We are consuming a lot and producing a lot of waste, in particular waste that come from the livestock industry that are full of antibiotics, and that can cause, as has been defined by WHO, like the future threat for humanity, antimicrobial resistance. So in order to solve this problem, we need to find way to be more sustainable, to better use our resources, and in particular to reduce all this pressure. So we are very familiar with the concept that we are all connected, the one biology concept. So we share as human and with other animal genetic material, and therefore makes us all connected in this planet. Being connected means that our health as human is related to the health of the animal and the health of the environment where we live. So concept of one health. And in the same time, the welfare, our welfare, is linked to the welfare of the animal and the environment where we live. So the concept of one welfare, which is broader and include also one health. And of course, include social and economical factor. So in order to support this framework, in order to create a better environment for all of us, we need to find solution. So in 2015, the United Nations, in agreement with many countries in the world, supported the development of a Sustainable Development Goals agenda, which is a set. The SDGs, the 2030 agenda, is a set of goals that address various social, economic, and environmental challenges that should be solved, or if not all, at least in part, by 2030. Even though the framework is pretty, is very is very beautiful, many researchers, many experts consider it impractical. And among different points, there is one actually fact that this agenda is missing the role that domestic animal and wild animal have in this sustainable development goal, and in particular their welfare, the animal welfare is missing. The fact that animal welfare is important, it should be included in the SDG agenda, has been supported in 2019 by the United Nations Global Sustainable Development Report. And so these consider animal welfare a key issue that should be included in the 2030 agenda in order to make it more comprehensive. In the same way, there are several global organizations that recognize the need to address animal welfare issue in the 2030 agenda. In particular, the Global Agenda for Sustainable Livestock in 2021 found 9 SDG that are directly linked to livestock, underline further the importance of including animal welfare in the SDG. Last year, in 2022, in March 2022, we had further development when during UNEA 5, the UNEA 5 adopted the resolution to incorporate animal welfare in the next report that it will be actually out with UNEA 6 in 2024. In addition, the United Nations Environmental Program approved a resolution that actually explicitly reference the importance of animal welfare, which is the Animal Welfare Environment Sustainable Development Nexus Resolution. So all of these underline that the missing link, the animal welfare, actually is critical. Why is critical? Because, taking it into consideration, from one side, the social and economical status of the people that share a certain environment with the domestic animal they use as food or just, love for leisure, and the wild animal, all this global picture allows us to better understand how the welfare and the health of the human are actually interlinked with the ones of the animal. In addition, in the moment we include the animal welfare in the SDG agenda, it means that we actually substitute the previous paradigm, which was mainly based on an economic growth, with a paradigm that is based on well-being. In fact, the economic growth paradigm actually is the one that led us to the crisis we are fully now. And and in addition, the SDG, the way they are until now, they are very anthropocentric. So we need actually to acknowledge the importance the animal and their welfare have on the development of this SDG. But, it's not so straightforward. Before we do that, we need to understand what is the association, what is the strength of the association between animal welfare and SDG, and how we can actually incorporate animal welfare so that the SDG can be supported and vice versa. At this point, Keeling et al., they did actually 2 studies, one in 2019 and one in 2022, which is a global study to identify a potential basis for policy option when integrating animal welfare into the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So these 2 studies have the objective to, from one part, to rate the strength of the association between the animal welfare and the SDG. And on the other side, to evaluate at which extent achieving the target in the SDG actually can favor animal welfare, or supporting animal welfare can achieve a target in SDG. So all of these, these 2 studies actually have underlined further the importance of incorporating animal welfare in the policy, in the policy making and all the activities concerning human, animal, and environment, that because doing this will actually have a better benefit to achieving the SDG. But what this mean? This means also that by doing so, the different organizations, the one that work on animal welfare and the one that works on achieving different targets of the SDG, they cannot work anymore by themselves, but they need to start to find common grounds and collaborate. It needs to support each other, and in order to reach, like a positive outcome for animal welfare and for the SDG target. So at this point, the study of Nilin et al. In 2019 actually point out with this graph, like the fact that the SDG could be divided in 3 groups, depending on the impact animal welfare has on them, or which impact the SDG has on animal welfare. So these 3 groups we have on the top right, the mutually reinforcing SDG. What does it mean? It means that apply animal welfare to this SDG can strongly favor the development of the SDG, and vice versa, supporting the development of the targets in this SDG can strongly support, can have strongly positive outcome for animal welfare. So they are mutually reinforcing. So the other one are the enabling reinforcing. What this mean? It means that enabling the development of the support of animal welfare, it might not actually achieve the SDG, but reinforcing and so promoting this SDG, on a long run can actually favor the development of animal welfare. So in this case, actually the outcome are not positive for animal welfare, I mean. So because it's not straightforward, it's not in both directions. So in this case, animal welfare organization and organization that support the targets for this SDG, they need actually still, even though there is not a strong connection, they have to find common grounds that can work in order to, pull out positive outcome. Because as I said, maybe it's not animal welfare that can lead to this SDG, but supporting the target in this SDG can actually develop animal welfare. The third group is the consistent one. This group of SDG actually has what is called a mutually symmetrical association with animal welfare. So what does it mean? It means that the progress in one area, for example, the progress in animal welfare, can contribute positively to the progress of the targets of this SDG. But in this case, the magnitude of the impact can vary. So what does it mean? It means that, for example, differently than in the mutually reinforcing, in where we have a strong impact, a strong favor on animal welfare, if we develop animal welfare and SDG, in this case, maybe developing the SDG has a lower impact, favorable impact on animal welfare and vice versa. But still, the outcome are positive. So this means that, also in this situation, the organization might find, situation where they can still find positive outcome and reduce the trade-off. These 3 groups, actually, for example, in the mutually reinforcing and the enabler reinforcing, they contain anthropocentric and zoocentric SDG, while interesting, the consistent, so are more technical. And the interesting one in the consistent is that even though they are more focusing on city development and industrial development, still, they have this mutually symmetrical association with animal welfare, which means that still their development can achieve a positive animal welfare outcomes. So in all of these talk, another important factor that Nilin actually found is that instead to focus on trying to associate animal welfare to all the SDG, is, for example, to focus on the target, on the SDG that has most of the target that can be related to animal welfare. In this case, for example, we have the target 14, which is is the target 14, which is the life below water, and the SDG 14, which is the life below water, and the SDG 12, which is responsible consumption and production. Together, they have 21 targets that are actually positively associated to animal welfare. So Nilin and the other, they said, hey, why you don't focus on SDG that has most of the target that have a strong association with animal welfare, and start to work on this one. Of course, in all this talk, what is the important thing? It is important to understand that when we try to associate animal welfare, to include animal welfare in the 2030 agenda, we need to understand that the relationship between animal welfare and the SDG is complex and is mostly context related and context dependent. So, but still, it's very important to, emphasize in all of this interconnection between the social, the economic, environmental goals and the animal welfare. So at the end of the day, even with maybe difficulties, but still we should try to work out our best collaboration in order to make this 2030 agenda more zoocentric, and more well-being oriented. Thank you for your attention, and have a great day.
Thank you, Professor Plateau, for your presentation. And we thank you all for being here with us this evening. We hope you have enjoyed all presentations, and we thank our speakers very kindly for the time they took to sign up for this forum and all the contributions. Please remember, you may contact us and work with us anytime. We are open for new projects, new initiatives regarding all topics related to green science. We thank you all for being here, and remember, you may ask any questions to the speakers to the Journal of Latin American Sciences email. Please send us an email and we will respond as soon as possible. Thank you very much and good evening.